I always believed betrayal came from strangers, until the day my own sister looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You don't deserve anything, not Dad's house, not his business, not a cent." I didn't argue, not because I was weak but because I had one document she didn't even know existed, and once it came out, her entire plan collapsed in front of everyone. She thought she knew everything, but she didn't know what Dad had left for me. My name is Emma Carter, and this is the story of how I learned that betrayal doesn't always come from the people you distrust. Sometimes heartbreak comes from the person who shares your blood. For me, that person was my sister, Lydia. But if you think this story ends at a lawyer's desk, you don't know how far my sister was willing to go and how far I had to go to protect the last piece of my father. Lydia and I never truly got along growing up. She was always the loud one, the bold one, the one who walked into a room and made everyone adjust to her energy. Dad used to joke that Lydia could sell air to a drowning man. People admired her confidence, but confidence isn't the same as character. Behind closed doors, Lydia was sharp. Not sharp in a clever way, sharp like broken glass, sharp enough to cut people when they weren't looking. She lied when it was convenient, cried when it benefited her, and manipulated everyone around her like it was her language. But she was brilliant at hiding it. To the world, she was the responsible, accomplished older daughter. To me, she was a storm that never ended. Dad saw pieces of her truth but not all of it. Or maybe he saw more than we realized, because in the end, he prepared for her long before she ever made her first move. When Dad died, the world felt empty. He wasn't perfect, but he was steady, predictable. Home, he raised Lydia and me alone after Mom passed. He ran his hardware store with rough hands and a soft heart. He never splurged on himself. He saved every penny. He worked mornings, nights, holidays, always thinking about our future. And just like that, he was gone. I grieved. Lydia plotted. I found out later she contacted the bank the very next day, asking about Dad's accounts. She called the insurance company pretending to be his sole heir. She even tried to have mail redirected to her apartment. She wasn't mourning, she was organizing. But she wasn't ready for what Dad left behind. When she barged into my kitchen demanding everything, that's when the real war began. "Let's keep things simple, Emma," she said, crossing her arms like she owned the entire world. "I'll take over the house, the store, the accounts. You're too emotional for this stuff." When I asked, calmly, why she should handle everything alone, she didn't even blink. "Because I deserve it more. You were always the soft one. I did everything. You don't deserve anything." She left like she had issued a final decree. And for a moment, just a moment, I felt that old childhood ache. The one she had carved into me over years of telling me I wasn't enough. But grief has a way of shifting you, breaking you, hardening you. That day, something in me solidified. Then came the lawyer meeting. Henderson was gentle but observant, the kind of man who notices every detail. He greeted Lydia first. She acted like a CEO walking into her own company. When he turned to me, his brow furrowed. "Emma, I emailed you several times. Were you unable to respond?" I told him I never got a single email. He pulled them up on his screen, and there it was. An email address that looked just like mine, except one letter replaced with another, a fake, almost perfect, and Lydia sat there, smiling. "Oh, she forgets her own email sometimes," she said lightly, a laugh, a shrug. A lie delivered with the ease of breathing. The lawyer didn't say anything, but his eyes flicked toward her with suspicion. My stomach tightened. My sister hadn't started manipulating things after Dad died. She had started long before. During the meeting she spoke like everything already belonged to her. "I'll manage the store. I'll take over the property. I'll handle the financials. I know what I'm doing. I. Every sentence started with herself. Henderson finally interrupted, "Legally, both of you must sign before any transfer is made." Lydia waved him off. "Oh, Emma will sign whatever I decide." But when he looked at me, I said firmly, "No, I won't." Lydia's head jerked toward me, shocked. It was the first crack in her perfect little plan. And once that crack formed, it spread. 2 days later, I found Dad's hidden folder inside the old metal cabinet in the back of the hardware store. A folder labeled, "For Emma, open when necessary." Inside, a notarized document, a USB drive, and everything changed. Dad hadn't just trusted me. He had legally given me the final say over every major decision related to his store, property, and finances. Not control. Just authority, the authority Lydia thought she was entitled to. Then I plugged in the USB drive and heard his voice. "Emma, if you're listening to this, it means I'm gone." My whole chest tightened. He continued, "I love both of you, but Lydia is impulsive. She thinks fast, but doesn't think ahead. You do, you always have. Protect the store, keep things fair. I trust you. I sobbed. Not because of the responsibility, but because he saw me. He saw me the way I always wished he did. And he saw Lydia the way the world refused to. I didn't confront Lydia right away, because the moment I showed her what Dad left me, the war would begin, and I wasn't going to walk in unprepared. The next morning, she barged into my home with fresh paperwork. She dropped the stack on the table. Sign these. I flipped through them. Dad's house, her name, Dad's store, her name, Dad's savings, her name. What did I get? Absolutely nothing, not even a footnote. What do I get? I asked. She didn't even look up. You get peace of mind that I'm handling everything. That should be enough. She said it like she was granting me charity. I pushed the papers back toward her. I'm not signing. She stared at me like I had grown to heads. You think you deserve something, you? You were always the weak one. The quiet one Dad trusted. Me. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, you're going to regret underestimating me. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the frame rattled. If only she knew. But the final meeting wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. When I revealed Dad's document in front of the lawyer, Lydia fell apart. Her face twisted from confusion to panic to fury. This can't be real. Dad loved me. He wouldn't give you authority, but he did. And he made it official. She had no way around it. The lawyer explained everything, calmly, professionally, firmly. Lydia looked at me with trembling eyes. So, I get nothing, and I said, you get what Dad intended. What's fair, but you don't get to erase me. She didn't speak for the rest of the meeting. But Lydia wasn't done. Not even close. I thought exposing the document would end it. But Lydia was the kind of person who didn't accept defeat. She tried to rearrange the board. Within a week, she tried to convince the accountant I was mentally unstable, called the store employees and told them I planned to sell the business, visited Dad's old friends and cried about how unfair everything was, even tried to get the will reevaluated, claiming Dad was confused. She made herself the victim everywhere she went. People started calling me asking what was going on, and I answered with the same calm every time. There's a document. Everything's legal. Dad made his choice. Some believed me. Many didn't. Lydia was a gifted storyteller. But she didn't know that Dad's document wasn't the only thing he left behind. There was more. Much more. One afternoon, while sorting through Dad's things, one found an old notebook. Not a legal document. Not a message. Just Dad's messy handwriting across years of pages. Notes about customers, inventory, ideas for the store. And then, near the end, a section labeled, about the girls. My breath hitched. The entries weren't traumatic. He never was. Just simple, honest observations, notes about my kindness, my patience, my reliability, and then notes about Lydia. About her ambition, and her dishonesty, her habit of twisting the truth, her obsession with control, and one line at the bottom, I love her, but I can't give her full control. She'd destroy everything. I sat there for a long time, crying into that notebook. He knew all along. So when Lydia made one final attempt to steal everything, I was ready. She filed a petition behind my back, claiming I had forged the document. Imagine the confidence it takes to accuse your own sister of fraud while knowing you tried to manipulate everything first. She showed up at the hearing dressed like a grieving saint. Fake tears, soft voice, hands folded neatly. She told the judge I was never involved in Dad's life, that I took advantage of him, that I manipulated him when he was sick, that I isolated him. Every word was a lie, but lies were her fluent language. When the judge asked if I had anything to respond with, I reached into my bag, and I pulled out the notarized document, the folder, the USB recording, and Dad's notebook. Not to humiliate her, but because I wasn't going to let her rewrite the man I loved or what he left behind. When Dad's voice played in the courtroom, Lydia froze. Every lie she told cracked like thin glass. The judge didn't need to hear anything more. Petition denied, case closed, and with that, Lydia's last weapon shattered. For the first time in her life, she had to accept limits. She had to accept equality. She had to accept Dad's choice. And every time she needed paperwork signed, every time she needed approval, every time she needed anything, she had to come to me, the sister she once called weak, the sister she tried to erase, the sister she believed didn't deserve anything. And here's the truth I learned. Revenge isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. Real revenge is watching someone